22nd, 2010 meeting of the Fayetteville Board of Education. I need a motion to go that close.
So moved.
April? Mr. Bacca?
Yes.
Mr. Bacco?
Yes.
Mr. Bishada?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno Recuya?
Yes.
Mr. Syak?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Lembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kraft? And Mr. McEnroe.
Present. Mr. Board Secretary, has this meeting been duly publicized for the open meeting public?
Yes, it has.
Everybody please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dr. Alfonso, I think we have some presentations on the agenda.
Yes, Mr. McEnroe. I'd like to start with Jennifer Grimm. She has a very nice mosaic project that she would like to show. So Jennifer, would you like to come up and please bring the students with you? Is that going to my office?
Hi, we would like to present our mosaic tile murals to the Board of Education as well as everyone here tonight. I have two student artists with me tonight, Shiva Sudhio and Angeli Werner. They worked on these murals. Angeli worked on the one that she's holding, and as did Shiva. The other students couldn't make it. But I think in working with these murals, the students got to get an appreciation for mosaic tile murals and the creation and the process in general. It took them about 4 weeks to create these. They worked in groups. They had to come up with designs all together, and then they decided on one design, and with that one design, they worked as a group to fill it in with the tiles. We grouted them. Even the frames were made by a student in one of my classes. He's also in woodshop, so he made the frames for us as well. So all three of these murals are all student created, so we just wanted to share them with you tonight. Our hope is that we can display them in the main entranceway of the high school here across from the Hall of Fame, so everyone can enjoy them when they come visit our school.
Thank you, Ms. Grimm. That's awesome. And your students did a super job. I'll have to make sure. We'll have to make sure Mr. Pantoliano puts it up so that nobody misses it. Excellent, excellent job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
I don't know what I like better, the tiles or Mrs. Bloom stained glass. I'm torn.
Yeah, stained glass is good too. What I would like now to call is Ms. Kaczynski, the vice principal of the high school, to make the next presentation, which I'd like to call the Wing of Fame, or the Wing of Honor. But I know Ms. Kaczynski will, and then we have some nice certificates to give out to the youngsters and to the individuals that put this project together. Ms. Kaczynski, you have the floor. Please use the mic.
Good evening. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here this evening to introduce to you Mrs. Giovanco, a woman with an idea to represent our public relations with our community for all of our veterans. And this is Kelly, a woman that had a program that provided the resources to get the wall going. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Giovanco and Ms. Kelly, please come up.
Yes, before you speak, though, we want to, Mr. Lembo would like to read what's on the plaque, which is very important.
Just read what's on the plaque. For your generous dedication and effort in the creation of the Sayreville War Memorial High School Wing of Honor. The Wing of Honor is devoted to our graduates who are or have committed themselves to serving the USA as a member of the Armed Forces. Congratulations.
I don't really need the floor, but I do need to thank everyone on the board, obviously, for allowing us to do this, and especially Mr. Brown, and of course Mrs. Kaczynski, Mr. Preston, and Mr. Leonardo, who always make it very easy when you come up with a good idea. They are the first to say, absolutely, it's a great idea, how can we help you make it work? So thank you, especially to Mr. Brown, who said, you need a wall, you need a wing, okay, and he gave it to us. So thank you very much. And I hope you're going to honor the kids because they do a lot of work for the school and especially the Wall of Honor. So let's get to them.
I just want to say that it has been my pleasure and my honor to work with you. I'm going to cry. You guys are amazing. I will miss you, and they really do incredible work, and I'm so proud that you're being recognized for this. Thank you. Sanzana Farouk. Michael Clark. Janice Frontera. Bridget Giovenco. Dana Quinn. Michael Monahan. The students that couldn't be here tonight are Shannon McKenna and Maureen McKenna. Brianne Baird.
I have those two.
We have
Mr.
Anyone else? Michael, sorry. I'm a little flustered. Michael.
We're going to give you these to give to the individuals.
We'd like to, Mr. Lembo would like to read what's on the certificate, and this is from the state legislature. The two assembly men had come and gave us the certificates in recognition of the students, Assemblyman Coughlin and Wisnowski, and also Senator Vitale. So they gave these, that's what these certificates, and Mr. Lembo is going to just give you what it says on the certificate.
The certificate reads, the Senate and General Assembly, commendations and praise are extended by the citizenry of the 19th District, New Jersey Legislative District, through their elected representatives in recognition of this uncommon generosity and heartfelt concern in the benefit of New Jersey veterans. Praise is extended to his commitment as a member of the Character Education Committee for the Sayreville High School Wall of Honor.
And I forgot David Mosby.
I just want to say that, especially to the students, that I personally appreciate what you have done with the wall. I was there for the dedication. But a lot of the veterans whose pictures are there, parents of kids who were there and no longer with us. And I was talking to one lady who pointed out her son that was killed in a helicopter mishap. And it really means a lot to people that served. And I talked to those veterans, and they really felt that this was so appropriate to say, well, Wall of Honor High School. And thank you. You left your mark here. This is going to be here for a very, very, very long time. It's going to continue to grow as more young Americans decide to serve their country that they graduate from the school. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the effort you did and for the superb leadership of Mrs. Giovenco and Mrs. McKelney in this project. Thank you.
After the dedication, I had a call from Mrs. Laughlin, and that's the gentleman of whom you're speaking, Wayne Laughlin, who went to school here and who died.
Yeah, West Point.
He was a West Point graduate, and he died in a helicopter crash. And his mom called me and personally expressed how grateful she was for the simple fact that we remembered her son and what she wanted to do for us. And I consider it a great, great gift that she is willing to give to us. She wants to give us her son's West Point uniform to keep in the school to display. And I think that's a wonderful thing, but I think that we should do that right and make sure that that is recognized for all to see.
I agree. I know, and it's old saying that Abraham Lincoln said, any country that fails to remember its defenders itself will be forgotten. So that's a nice, yeah, Ms. Lockman was very nice.
So thank you very much again. And can we have a picture?
Sure. I figured you'd have the camera.
Could we? Where do you want us?
Just them? On three. 1, 2, 3. And one more just in case. 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
Very nice.
No.
You can, go ahead. Okay. Very well.
This evening, we also have the advisor of the Pocahontas yearbook, you have the yearbook in front of you, and also one of the students from the staff who would just like to say a few words. Dan?
Hi. Okay. I'm Dan Friend. I'm one of the editors for the Sears yearbook, and this is Donna Cruz, who's also an editor, and Eric Sherman was the third editor, but he couldn't be here tonight. And we brought the Sears yearbooks here for you guys. The Sears theme was Passport, and we hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
For our final presentation, we're going to honor our Teachers of the Year. And I just would like to say, and I'd like to thank Ms. Sutherland yesterday for putting together one of the nicest luncheons that we've had that I've been here in a very nice setting at the Buttonwood where we honored these 7 teachers. I certainly, there's no losers here in Sayreville. I really believe we probably have about between 500 and 600 staff, certificated and non-certificated. Every single one of them certainly should be honored. And without further ado, what we do is we have a certificate for each of the teachers. And when we call your name, we certainly would like you to come up, receive recognition. Mrs. Giovenco will once again take a nice picture of this and put this on our Wall of Fame. And once again, this is a great honor for me and for the Board of Education.
I got a big enough mouth. That's for, that basically, you know, this is a great honor, and we'd like to acknowledge these 7 teachers of the year, in front of the Board of Education. So without further ado, I know Mr. Lembo would also like to read this inscription as well as bring up the individuals.
The repairman.
We're going to start tapping.
Thank you, Mr. Repairman. The certificates read, for a demonstration of excellence as a teacher, educational services professional in New Jersey Public Schools by creating an environment that improves students' academic opportunities, workforce preparedness, and overall quality of life. Our first recipient is Lori Rosen. Alan Tripazeski. Here. Jennifer Mayhew. Kelly Cyprian. Laura Cozy. Christina Kiernan.
There must have been a mix-up, because I'm sure all the members would have been here. So I will take the hit for that, and I certainly will relay the information. I apologize, but obviously there was some sort of a mix-up. Thank you.
Photo up.
One, two. One more, just.
Mr. President, will we be redoing this presentation in September once the staff are appropriately notified?
Yes.
Okay.
On the correspondence, everybody should have got the monthly maintenance and monthly technology work order report. Any questions or comments on those? If not, I need approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 18, 2010. Anybody have any comments, suggestions, additions, deletions of the minutes?
Mr. McEnon,
Mr.
on the minutes, page 7, number 3, the Board of Education is granted a retroactive of an unpaid, I believe that should be a paid medical leave of absence, and we voted correctly because it's noted that Mrs. Batko, myself, and Mrs. Bruno Roculia all voted no. That was for the paid medical leave. Do you have that, Mr. D'Andrea? Page 7 of the minutes. It's the very last item. Page 7, number 3, personnel non-certified.
No, I think it was unpaid. That's
It
why-
wasn't unpaid. It was
Yeah,
unpaid.
that's why you have that last line of that, the difference paid.
Well, if it's unpaid, then why are we paying the difference? You follow what I'm saying there? You know, we're paying the difference between her salary and the subs.
It's a two-part item. We granted the unpaid leave, and then it says we also granted the difference between the pay and that of the substitute.
And then the three individuals voted no. And if I recall correctly, Mrs. Roculia said not until they report policy or
Correct.
direction. So the three did vote no.
Right, but, you know, my interpretation is that this is a paid medical leave, but making up the difference.
No.
That's what it's on.
All right.
Was it on the agenda?
No, this one.
Yeah, this is the way it was.
If not, I'll take a motion to file and accept the minutes.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Balkin?
Yes.
Mrs. Backo?
Yes.
Mr. Bishada?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno Roculia?
Yes.
Mr. Syak?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Lembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Pratt? And Mr. McEnon, I apologize.
Our student council representatives report. How we doing?
Good.
You excited about the end of the school year?
Yes, we have 2 days left. It's kind of bittersweet. Not much to report. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity of letting me come here, and the learning experience has been great. On behalf of the student council and the student body, we just wanted to say thank you again for informing us about everything and all you've done for us this past school year, and the school itself is great. So,
We'll see you at graduation.
yes.
All right.
I have to leave early tonight to go back to work. But
Okay.
I'll say
Thank you
thanks
for coming.
again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Parent involvement representative, we have one tonight?
We'll close until September.
Okay. Then we'll turn to report district highlights, Mr. Lembo.
Yes, we have, Mr. President. A very special thank you goes out to Deborah Shedlack, Transportation Coordinator, Sharon Bassitis, and Secretary, and Joan Young, Secretary, and the rest of her staff in the Transportation Department. In an effort to make a difference, the Transportation Department donated 6 backpacks to the 12th annual Stand for Children backpack campaign that was run by New Jersey Foster and Adoptive Family Services Organization. Not only have you made a difference, you've also made us proud. Congratulations to the Truman Elementary School for being selected as the National Schools of Character Promising Practices Award recipient. The Character Education Partnership selected their practice Truman Talks TV show to serve as a model for others across the country to replicate and integrate into their character education initiatives. Truman Elementary School will be awarded a certificate at the CEP National Forum in October, have their practice highlighted in the CD section of the 2010 National Schools of Character book, and they will receive a complimentary copy of the NSOC book CD. We are extremely proud of this great honor and proud of their third-grade teamwork that went into planning and implementing the school TV show that showcases monthly character traits. Truman School is now a role model for other schools throughout the country. Way to go, Truman School. More kudos to Truman School, who in their continuing effort to make a difference, did it again. The Truman Elementary School was recognized for making a difference for the animals at the Popcorn Park Zoo by raising over $2,800 at the Fall Dance-a-thon Community Service Project. The students and staff were thanked for their generosity to their four-footed friends by appearing in the Associated Humane Society's Humane News 2010 edition. You can view the website and scroll to page 19 to view the article or visit the School Pride page on the Truman School website. At Truman School, caring is obviously very contagious, and we are all very proud of you. Awesome is one word to describe the spring performance of the Sayreville Middle School's production of Beauty and the Beast presented by the school's music department. The students' performances in singing, dancing, and acting were superb. It was a magnificent performance, to say the least. Congratulations to all the performers, and special kudos to Sayreville's own beauties, Marie Mallara and Joyce Campbell, and the Beast, Ronald Mancini, for another spectacular endeavor. Talent doesn't stop at the middle school level in Sayreville. In May, music filled the air at the Sayreville War Memorial High School with sweet and dulcet tunes as the high school concert band and jazz ensemble held their annual spring concert. As always, the performers were magnificent, as was the maestro, Mr. Paul Caruso. If you close your eyes during the concert's band performance, you would have thought you were listening to more experienced musicians at Lincoln Center. As the jazz ensemble played, members of the audience were rocking and swaying with the music. Congratulations to Mr. Caruso and all the performers on yet another fantastic performance. On May 1st, 3 students from the high school entered ceramic projects into the Clay and Mind competition held at Burlington Township High School. Clay and Mind is a statewide ceramics competition open to high schools around the state of New Jersey. Congratulations to participating artists Andalzika, Kawaluk, Tigran, Anton, for having their ceramic projects on display at the competition. Also special congratulations to senior Sergei Matavysin for winning 2nd place in the state with his ceramic sculpture of hands holding a bowl. Sergei's ceramic piece will be on display at the Clay Studio in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yet another job well done. Congratulations to Sayreville War Memorial High School senior Adelaide Agmang, who won 1st place in the New Jersey Department of Human Services Teen Media Contest. Her artwork was displayed at the New Jersey State House during the week of May 24th, and she was personally recognized at the State House during an official awards ceremony. Adelaide's artwork will be included in the New Jersey Child Support 2011 calendar, which will be sent to all schools in the state. Thank you, Adelaide, for making us proud. On April 17th, the Sayreville Winter Guard competed in their championships at South Brunswick High School and placed 1st in their division. Not only did the Winter Guard place 1st at the championships, but they also went undefeated this season by coming in 1st place at every competition they went to, 7 in all. This is a huge accomplishment for the program, and congratulations to Elise Hadizak, Winter Guard coach, and Winter Guard members Amber Danku, Angie Shotwell, Kate Pentek, Amanda Coyle, Miranda Mayer, Emily Bloodgood, Caitlin Lazito, Kerry Pentek, and Allison Bloodgood. Thank you, girls, for making us proud. That concludes our highlights, Mr. President.
Thank you. Dr. Alfano, take us through the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. McEnroe. Section A is use of buildings at Sam Sarver Elementary School, the high school, and the high school. Any questions with Section A? With none, moving to Section B. 1 through 12 are regular resolutions. Number 13 is custom care service maintenance of various Board of Education properties, and is the lowest responsible bidder. 14 is our attorney's resolution and fee. Capital Financial Advisors, 15 is our financial advisors that give us the information that we need as far as bidding and so on and so forth. 16 is a HERA designation person. 17 has been withdrawn. 18 withdrawn. and Associates, which is our architect. 20 is our substitute list. A 21 is the different hourly rates for our substitutes. 22 is the district tax breakdown. 23 is cooperative business program. And there's an addendum to number 23, which are the actual students that will be working for the various locations in the district. 24 is the tuition, state tuition rates. I'm going to ask Mr. DeAndrea to basically review a little bit and explain a little bit numbers 25 and 26.
25 is the roof replacement at the Olive School. This has been out to bid for several months, and we're moving ahead at this point in time with the contract, with the understanding that there is no grant attached to it. Item number 26 is a discussion that we've been having in reference to the excess funds from the referendum. What we have is 4 separate contractors to work on the renovation of the high school auditorium, which will include new seating, new flooring, lighting for, I guess the best way to put it is in the dark so you can see the walkways, and minor electrical upgrades. Total cost of that is $332,000 and will be taken out of the referendum funds that are still available of about $500,000.
Thank you, Mr. DeAndrea. 27 and 28 is refurbishing in the guidance office in the middle school, V7. 29 is omitted. It will be taken off the sheet again.
It's a duplicate.
It's a duplicate, that's exactly right. 30 is a change order in amount of a credit, $52,000 plus. 31 is our Savin copier contract, lease purchase. The joint agreement, Mr. DeAndrea, would you like to go over 32, 33, 34?
32 is just another cooperative purchasing. It's another one in the state that we join on with. And what we do is, since we're in so many, we look at different groups to make sure that we're getting the best price based on the cooperatives out there. There is no cost to be a part of this. It's just another school district that does it on behalf of many school districts. Number 33, same additional thing. We're part of the Middlesex Regional Ed Services Commission's cooperative purchasing. Again, they go out, they bid several items. We're part of their consortium. We get the same pricing they do. 34 is the Ed Service. One of the programs that they provide is the Ed Services Commission. They, on behalf of the whole county, have worked out a special deal with Educational Data Services, who does a majority of our bulk purchasing for supplies. It's an online system, mainstream purchasing order and all, so we're part of that program also. 35 is our budget personnel software agreement for the year. Want me to continue that?
You're on a roll.
36 is our maintenance contract for our telephone system district-wide. You will see another agenda item for the hourly repair services. This is for the major maintenance contract of the system, the telephone system itself. There will be a separate one for other than that. 37 I sent home this weekend. The State Department has increased the threshold for purchasing above the prior years. I am a certified purchasing agent. The new threshold is $36,000, making sure the board is approving of that to move forward. And the new quotation threshold is 15% of that number. 38 is the board gave direction several months ago to move ahead to allow a teacher in the district to allow their child to come to school at 50% of the rate. This is the new contract that will be going out. And number 39 is a resolution, as we spoke about at the budget process, and specifically at the budget defeat process, where we were anticipating additional funds from this current year budget between revenue and appropriations. My recommendation is to the board is to allow at that point in time to transfer up to $1 million into a capital reserve account for future expenditures for capital projects in the future. And the reason it says not to exceed is I'd like to make sure that the surplus is brought down to 2% when we end the year, and this allows the time to move it in that direction.
There is an addendum, 40, 41, 42.
And if I could,
Go ahead.
these replace prior ones that were withdrawn under the statute for public contracts. The two here for the insurance consultant now read extraordinary unspecifiable services. They are not professional contracts. They fall under the extraordinary unspecifiable services part of the contract law. So that's why the resolutions are redone in that manner so that they read appropriately according to the contract law. There is no cost to the board on these items, so they need to read in that manner, not professional services. Everything is the same except that basic wording and the statute readings. And then the last one added, item number 42, in an effort, as per my notes have indicated, we've had many small projects on the board that we have not done. We finished off with this one today, the Truman School doors that the committee has seen at some point in time. And again, with the excess funds, we're trying to do some smaller projects to keep it moving ahead.
Mr. DeAngelo, you said 42.
I'm sorry, the number,
Yeah, the numbering is wrong. It should be on your sheet.
Oh, it's the last one, 39.
It's 37, 38, 39 on the addendum, but it should read 40, 41, 42.
My apologies.
On your addendum, it's 37, 38, and 39, but it should read 40, 41, 42. I apologize for that. Thank you, Mr. Saya. Any questions with section B?
39. The first 39 on page 10.
Yes.
When we discussed this budget, Pete, we talked about $500,000,
Correct.
right? This is $500,000 more than the $500,000 we discussed?
Correct.
Is that correct? Where is the other $500,000 coming from?
Generally, as we closed out the books and records for the year, our energy savings from some of the things that we've done this year has generated money in that regard. We received close to $200,000 in prior year tuition for displaced children that Ms. Sutherland and I have worked on with the Department, not the Department of Children's Services.
Children and families.
So we've actually received refunds back to 2007 that just started to come in. We placed the paperwork late last year, early part of this school year, and it's finally gotten processed with money that we thought we were not getting. So those are some of the things, and the closeout of the books and records, and a good portion was related to services related to one child who had nursing services, who unfortunately was in the hospital, and that generated a large amount of money for not having nursing services for one child. Those are the big ticket items that started to generate the additional
The
funds.
additional 500. So it's your anticipation that we're going to be $1 million over the 2%?
Correct.
Is that what you're anticipating? So why are you not exceeding $1 million? So is there any chance between now and June 30th that million could be more than $1 million over the 2%?
At this point in time, my office and I have been through all of our encumbrances, and those items, I do not believe so. There still is money out there from the state that they have not reimbursed. I can't get an answer as to when that money will come in, but I feel comfortable staying with the million, and if we're above it, I mean, we go above 2%, I feel comfortable, because right now, I'm hitting about 800, 850, so there's still some cushion to go to that million. But the goal is to end the year with a 2% surplus.
Right, but now suppose, just by chance, June 30th, it's greater than 2%. Is your plan to come back and amend this?
No, it's $1 million, and then the 2% sits above.
Is there any harm in making this $1.5 million?
Right, why?
Not at all.
Is it a not to exceed figure?
That's fine. If the board wishes to raise it to $1.5 million, I have no objection to that.
I don't think we need to make it that high, but if you're that close to $1 million, I don't think $1 million, I'm going to go back to the reason I voted against it in the first place, because my anticipation is we're going to end up with money for Governor Christie like we did last year.
That's fine. If you wish to raise it, I have no objection to that.
How much higher do you think in your, I mean, 1.5 seems kind of high, that's really,
$1,250,000.
so.
So? Everyone's in agreement, 1,250,000? And again, this helps us for next year to reserve for capital projects.
Dr. O'Connell, I have a question. On page 8, why is the half-day preschool handicap program more costly than the full day?
I'll answer that, Dr. O'Connell. What occurs is that all of the information for the programs that you have are put into a database by the State Department of Education. So it takes your whole district, cost factors, and applies it. And then what it does, it divides it by the number of students in those programs. So the half-day program at this point in time has less kids, so it's generating a little bit more of the cost. So the half-day programs have less number of kids when you bring them all to number one. Bring them together so that it's multiplied, it divides by that.
We don't do the calculations, the state does the calculations with the two. It's not something we have control of.
Any other questions in section C? With none, moving to D, with B, moving to C. Non-certified personnel, we have a resignation. I would like to say something about Mary Dorothy Bronsdorf. I worked with Mary Dorothy for 2 years. She's a wonderful person. I want to wish her the best. And she was my secretary for 2 years. There's a couple of unpaid medical leaves, an adjustment in longevity, and a transfer of a custodian. Cafeteria aides, bus aides, part-time secretaries are listed, bus drivers, and long-term hourly cafeteria workers are listed. Moving to page 15. There's also an addendum. These are your extended school year paraprofessionals. There's also, just so that you know, this program is at the Sam Sorrento Elementary School, which is on the addendum. The extended school year continues with number 13. Number 14 is that huge attachment that you have in the back, which is Appendix A. It has all the salaries of non-certificated individuals. 15 are professional days, and there is an addendum of 2 additional names on it. And then there's 16, which is our substitute list. And page 17, there are, actually number 17, there are, on the addendum, are substitute bus aides, substitute bus drivers, cafeteria aides, cafeteria subs, substitute clerical, paraprofessional, and custodians. Just so that you're aware, keeping track of all the substitutes is a full-time job. My secretaries do a wonderful job since we don't really have a personnel department. And this is a full-time job, just keeping track of all these substitutes. 13 is part of the Twilight program, and there's an addendum to the Twilight program, which is also effective immediately, the $53 rate, which is for Chris Testa to be a substitute, which is the going rate. Page 18, there's a Any questions on section C? Kind of jumping because the addendum is so huge. With none, moving to D, I want to congratulate and wish the retirees that are on this list the best. And a lot of these people really, unfortunately, because of everything that's going on in the state, decided at this time it was really time to retire. And I wish them nothing but the best and a lot of health and happiness. I have a resignation also, a resource center teacher at the middle school. There's an unpaid medical leave, 3 unpaid medical leaves. Number 6, there is an addendum. The date is amended to September 3rd, 2010, September 30th, I'm sorry, September 30th, 2010, for this child rearing leave. 7, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are child rearing leaves. 10 is a pregnancy leave. There's a correction on number 11 on longevity. 12 is retirement payouts by contract. Once again, the Twilight program, I just discussed before. 14 is also part of that program. 15, 16, and 17 is the summer program, the summer enrichment program of the SUES, which is a very successful program. That's the payouts to the individuals that work there. The extended school year related services is number 18 for preschool program. And as you go through, number 19 is the extended school year substitute list. And the summer employment for guidance counselors is also listed there. Child study team members in the district. We also need some summer help for child study team members that have to exceed 20 days. There's a rate for IEP meetings for teachers at $53, which is number 22. 23 is the attachment, and on that attachment is all the certificated people. And there's I would say probably about 20 pages of certificated people. 24 is our co-op program. 25 is our curriculum writing. The board cut that down this year to about 10,000. We used 9,500. I want to thank Ms. Bauman again for another outstanding job this year. Most of our curriculum for this year has been submitted. I think we only have a few more. This is for the next school year, and we're doing the best that we can with the money that we have. 26 is for our fall sports, the summer hours for our trainer. Coaching assignments is 27. Coaching unpaid aides is listed as 28. Co-curricular assignments is listed as 29. ISIPs, which is basically what the teachers, when we get the test scores back, they analyze the test scores and they get paid a rate. Those are the individuals that will be working on that, as well as number 31. 32 are the professional days. There's an addendum for number 32 with a couple extra people. 33 is an adjustment in salary that this young lady just received her certification, so she went from $200 a day. She's going to $200 a day for the month of June. Transfer list is listed there on 36, and one employment for the 2010-11 school year is listed. And obviously you're going to get more of that within the next couple of days. I think we have about 10 people to fill. Any questions with...
Dr. Alfano?
Yes.
Item number 34, I believe you had an adjustment. The last two transfers.
Vice principals.
Was they have a copy?
The event.
More original, yeah. I don't know what's that, what the public has.
Does the public have something different?
No, the public doesn't have it.
Okay.
No,
My
it's not.
apologies.
No, it's an old copy.
Oh, so it's not really on here. Correct.
No, that's your old copy.
For the benefit of the public, 'cause I know that there is a rumor circulating, could you clarify what we're not doing?
We are not transferring either vice principal at the high school or the middle school. Mr. Scatterio and Mr. Leonardo, they're staying in their present schools. Number 36 is a substitute teacher list. 37, 38, 39 is an addendum. The first, I would like to congratulate Ms. Kaczynski and Mr. Preston for being our new supervisors of mathematics, science and world language, and mathematics and business, respectively. I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you for applying. I also would like to thank Mr. Everhart. I don't know if Mr. Anschatz is here, for their years of service, and wish them very well in regard to their nice retirement, which is, I'm sure Mr. Everhart is waiting for very quickly. He was hoping it happens. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate your commitment to the district. This is a retroactive employment for some work that needs to be done with the child study team regarding speech services, and there's also a pregnancy leave that's also on the addendum. Any questions with section D?
Dr. Alfano.
Yes, sir.
On page 19. Number 15, this individual from July 23rd to August 13th is going to not exceed $6,750, $6,750. And then on 17, same person's going to receive $4,000.
That's for the putting together of the program. She runs all year long. That's her coordination fee that she basically builds into the fee that she charges for the enrichment program.
Is this?
None of this, Mr. Bashada, comes out of board money. This is all tuition based. So she works on this program. She gets a $4,000 fee to put the program together, and she also teaches in it when it comes forth. So that's where you see the two stipends.
Dr. Alfano, with the announcement of Mrs. Goshinsky taking the science spot, is she still the best person to send to the Power School training as we designated, or do you need flexibility to send another individual?
We can make those adjustments should the need.
Okay, there's no issue.
And yeah, we will let you know, and hopefully we got to figure out who's going to do that now.
Okay.
But Ms. Kaczynski has assured us that she will certainly stay on board till the end of the summer to make sure that the master schedule is
Excellent.
complete.
She's our scheduler.
She's the scheduling guru and will continue to be so. But we're very excited about the trip with the move.
Also, under Finance, Mr. DeAndrea, I need to abstain on fingerprinting solutions. Thank you.
Question. Schedule A, the certificated staff and non-certificated, are there any new employees on that list that we hired to replace retirees?
They would go into the body of the report. Like that one, the last person I just put in, they would go into the body. These are all existing people. Section E, it seems like we've had these two policies up for the last 10 years, but there's a policy on nepotism, which is the final reading, and there's also one on use of facilities. I believe that's the only policy we have. That's it. Any questions? With none, moving to F. F is our extended school year program. These are all the different services that are provided within the extended school year. There's also an addendum also on number 1 that is on your list to add a couple more services that we need to provide for this specific program. And I would think also, Ms. Duffy, correct me if I'm wrong, there's also the second part is that all the extended school year?
I think there's a couple more that will be coming in for which places have not provided the tuition for the next academic.
This is for our summer program?
Yeah, this is
okay.
for all the ones we run.
Yeah, I know you don't have your glasses, so I don't want to, hit you with a curveball. Any questions with that section? With none, moving to co-curriculum. Retroactively, I have to, the board would just understand that since we only had a board meeting 5 weeks ago, there were a couple of functions that needed to be run, so I retroactively approved them, or these functions would not have been able to run. And I felt that they were all legit, and I approved them. Number 5, on page 38, I want to congratulate the 2 students that have been selected to go to Douglas Science Institute for Women in Math and Science and Engineering, the 11th and 16th. And once again, the DuPont Corporation of New Jersey will cover the cost of $1,470 for registration fee. They've been very good to us, DuPont, and we certainly appreciate everything that you do for us. 6 is that gymnastic program that we ran last year. We will continue to run it this year. Any questions with section G? With none, moving to H. These are waivers in transportation and different transportation bidding and quotes. Then there's number 7, there's an emergency evacuation drills that we've done, another retroactive trip, and a couple more retroactive trips. Last page, the Samsel summer program. That concludes my report.
Dr. Alfano, just a comment on item number 7, the bus evacuation drills. Can we do them in the future in September or October?
We have to do them twice.
Oh, they're done twice.
We do them in September and we do them at the end of the year.
Fantastic.
Any board discussion on the agenda before we open up for public? If not, at this time, I'd like to open up for public. If anybody has any questions or comments about anything on the agenda, be mindful, I will open up again for the public for any business that may come before the board. But right now, if anybody has any questions or comments on the agenda, please come up, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will close the public portion for the agenda, and I will entertain a motion to accept and file the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any roll call?
Mr. Balka?
Yes, Bob, I'm staying on item B, number 8, page 3. B, number 20 on page 7.
I'm sorry, Dan, please just allow me to get there. Again, page 3.
Page 3, number 8.
Okay.
Page 7. Number 20.
Okay.
Page 16, number 14, it's reference to the page scheduled out in the back.
Page 16, number 14. Abstain on that also?
I just need to state on one person in the schedule. Do you get the name?
Yes, one.
It's Kranowski.
Pronounced.
On page 21, number 23.
Number 23.
Yes,
Thank you. Mrs. Backup?
Page 4. The attorney, page 4, number 14, no on the attorney. Otherwise, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bishara?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno Riccuya?
Yes.
Mr. Sire?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Lembo?
Yes.
And Mr. McEnroe?
Yes. Okay, I have nothing for background. We do have a few discussion items I get to. Mr. Syak, you're the delegate to the New Jersey School Board Association. You know that?
Yes, I do. The only thing I really have to report is the state legislature is working on finalizing the budget. There are no adjustments expected for state education aid. And I am following up with New Jersey school boards regarding the aid on the Arlen School roof to find out what's happening with that situation. They were not aware of the fact that the governor was basically withholding aid from construction projects. They're trying to find out what's going on with that.
Discussion.
Okay.
Ms. Backo has something for background.
Okay, I just learned tonight from Mr. DeAndrea that the cop who directs traffic out of the high school at 2:30 was cut from the budget. I don't ever remember discussing this during budget time, and I know a decision would have to be made now, but I don't think it's a good idea, and I think you're going to have a lot of angry parents here in September, because you're never going to be able to get out of the school without the police officer.
Again, as we discussed,
Right.
my understanding is the officer that sits in the parking lot in the afternoon, I wasn't, Ms. Backo informed me, he's the same one that does the traffic out front, which I'm not aware of, but that was cut from the budget when we were doing our budget cuts, the afternoon cop.
Right, the police officer at the middle school, we do not pay for, but we always paid for the police officer at the high school. The one that runs around, we had out of budget last year. This 2:30 police officer that directs traffic coming out of the high school, I don't think you're never going to get the buses out or the people out at 2:30, especially since you have the middle school and high school so close together, letting out. I don't think that's going to work.
We cut that from the budget before it went to public. That was one of our initial cuts.
Correct. And what I'd like to do is clarify with the administration here, if that's the same individual. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's incorrect, but I don't know if it's the same individual that we're paying.
Right, but we never discussed it. Like, I mean, you might have cut the line, but I remember you saying you wanted to cut down on football games and that, but we never discussed cutting the traffic police officers.
Yeah, no, the finance committee had a discussion, but I'm with Mrs. Bacco. We were not under the impression that we were cutting the one that is releasing traffic out of the high school.
Again,
Correct.
we released the cop that was in the high school parking lot in the afternoon. The discussion we had is Mrs. Bacco is indicating that is the same officer as the one that's hired to sit in the parking lot in the afternoon. If it is, that cop was removed from, that was one of the budget cuts made, the afternoon cop.
Right, but when you say the afternoon comp was cut, that would have been like, say, like 11 to 3 or something like that? Like,
Again,
because
I don't know
we
his
don't
hours.
hire a police officer for 15 minutes to
No,
cut
it was a
traffic. It has to be
4-hour
a
block,
4-hour
I'm not
thing.
sure how long
Right.
it is, but that was cut from the budget discussion we had, was the afternoon cop in the parking lot. If he does traffic, I was not aware of that at the time, as much as, I guess, assume those who sat on the finance committee, because I wasn't aware that he does traffic duty.
Well, let's find out for sure that
Well,
this
that's
is
what
one
I just said.
individual versus two, bring it back to the board, and we'll,
I certainly will.
I think we're in agreement, we need somebody at the middle school.
No, the high school.
High school.
Not the
Be
high
a
school.
horror
We get the
without
bus
it.
Right, they let the buses out, the parents out, the students out, I mean, they let anybody out.
Okay, just find out, and we'll be talking anyway.
I don't want to see the school open and nobody be there. The other question I had, you said you had the results for the solar feasibility study, and you sent us
Yes.
words about that. Would it be possible to do that study presentation in public so that the public gets to hear? I mean, we
Yes,
did spend a lot
the
of money
goal
on
is-
that.
The goal is to have the committee, since the committee started with it, is the committee to see the first report and go through it, make any adjustments to that report, and then come back to the full board with their recommendations as to what they see in that report. My guess is that they're not going to make many changes, or if any at all, based on what we've seen. I can tell you, the report indicates about 7,000 solar panels district-wide. And what I thought was to start with the committee, at least have 3 people that have an understanding of the full report, because it could take us around 2 hours to go through it. And then hopefully when it comes back to the board, they get a good summary of what's going on, and not the whole report, where we go through what the changes are, what we're looking to implement, bracketing and all that. I'd rather have 3 committee people understand the system in total, and then the full board get the solar feasibility study.
Right, but I guess my question, will that architect come back to
Yes,
present it in
absolutely,
public? So that the
absolutely.
public gets to ask
Yes, that's the
questions?
direct, he understands he would come back.
Okay, great. We did, yeah. That's it. Oh, this one. One other item, for any of you that, I know we've discussed this on the board before, but for any of you who've seen the Star Ledger the other day, there was a big article about the New Jersey school boards and the money. And we do pay that $30,000 a year that we're required to pay, and I know we've talked about it. What I would like to ask the board is to send a letter to the governor and ask him to change the statute so that we have the option to do it and it's not mandatory. So that the school boards can decide whether they wish to belong and spend that $30,000.
Discussion?
Basically, I would be opposed to that. The New Jersey School Boards Association is, and the argument that we've always used, it's not a big shock, I'm just president of the organization. The rationale that we've always used as the New Jersey School Boards Association is several things. One, it is a counter to the New Jersey Education Association, and it's beneficial, obviously, to all school boards to have us unified and brought together. The second piece is it does provide all the training for school board members, and it's a resource. If the board is not using them to their fullest potential, that's the board's fault. The board needs to get more engagement.
Yeah, I just think $30,000 is a lot of money, and I remember someone here bringing up too that, a lot of the lobbyists there don't even live in New Jersey. And,
That was me.
Yeah, that was you, and I agree with you, like, I mean, to have people lobbying for us that don't even live in New Jersey, to lobby for New Jersey schools is, to spend $30,000, I think is a lot of money. Not that if you had a vote that you couldn't do it, but I think that school board should be given an option and not be forced to do it.
And the other part to point out is we've got approximately 74 staff, I believe. The lobbying or the governmental relations arm is about 5 of those people. The rest of that is our legal staff that provides legal advice to boards, the training staff, field services, the one that came and did our retreat.
And I remember when I went for my training, my new school board member training, I remember we had to pay. I mean, it wasn't free, so we still had to pay. So, I mean, the state mandates the training that we have to go to, and then they make us pay for it anyway, and $30,000.
And now all the mandatory training is free.
Spent $30,000 to belong to an organization. And if school boards are using it and they wish to join, then I think they should have that option.
But I think there's only 338 school districts that belong to the New Jersey School Board Association out of the 607 or 8 of the districts in the state of New Jersey.
Every school district belongs, it's mandatory.
Well, there was an article I read in the paper, I think there was only 338 that either that or they're paying or whatever.
Okay, well, if mandatory was the state, just distract that from our aid that they didn't give us any,
No.
how are they going to do it now? Because if you didn't join, you should think if you used that as state aid, it was coming to the district, correct?
We actually have not had anyone in many, many years refuse to pay the dues.
What happens if you don't? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know. Nobody's not paid it. I mean, you're going to get a call from them. It's going to be reported to the Commissioner of Education. It's going to be reported to the County Superintendent. But to the best of my knowledge, at least in the last decade to 15 years, there has not been a board that has not paid the dues.
And I understand the dues is going down to something like a $2,000 credit that was in that same article you used to with that. But her initial question was to send them, send the Commissioner of Education.
Yeah, or something, a letter just asking them not to mandate it, that it be at the option of the school board to join.
I would support that. Thoughts from anybody?
I agree.
Ms. Bruno?
I don't think I know enough about school
Okay.
boards associations.
Fair enough. I want to ask you, Mr. Lembo.
I see nothing wrong with making it optional. I would certainly vote to join it, but I see no problem with making it optional.
But if the vote is here to maintain our membership, then why would we send a letter saying to make it optional if in fact we want to do it? The training that I've received was pretty valuable because you're running for the school board, you know nothing about running the school board, and you get some pretty good training. So from that aspect of it,
But if you had to pay for the training, would it cost you $30,000?
But if you pay for all the services they provide, it would cost you more than $30,000.
Just in policy.
Policy,
Just in
legal,
policy alone.
negotiations.
30,000.
well, let's move on. Anything else? Yes, Mrs. Esposito.
Yeah, I just wanted to express concern that we may be losing our police officers in the middle school and the high school.
Yes, Mike, that was on the list right here. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure that all the parents were aware of this, which would leave us with no security at all in your middle school. You have 3 security officers, I believe, in your high school and a police officer. The police officer will be supposedly leaving, and that would leave the middle school without any help at all. So you'd have no security in your middle school.
This is something that was brought to our attention that the SROs, the school resource officers, they do more than just stand around in the hallways of the main lobby. They also conduct classes in a high school, like for drug awareness, especially when the kids start to drive, about driving, things like that. So they are a resource, and that's why they call them that. It's been brought to our attention that the SRO in the middle school and the high school will be taken back into the police department and be utilized as road officers. That used to be paid for a grant that has dried up, so now it's money that's coming from the municipality. I spoke to the mayor twice, I spoke to the municipality business administrator, and Dr. Fennell and I have an appointment with the chief of police this coming Monday to discuss the SROs and if there's anything we can do, what can we do to maintain them in our schools. But before I and the superintendent go and talk to the police chief and we advocate this, I want to make sure that everybody on the board is supportive of maintaining the SROs in the school. So I'd like to go there with a 9-0 that this is what the Board of Education wants to do. Ms. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Bouchard?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
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 And yes, too, Jill, Ms. Trapp has expressed to me her concern with this area as well. We're just living in a different environment, than 30 years ago. That there's a need, and the board has a responsibility to ensure the security and safety of the building. That's our position going in with the chief of police. We will get back to let you know how that meeting goes, and then we'll go from there. So. There's a couple of things on here for the auditors, Mr. DeAndre. You want to talk about that?
Yes, there was a request to have RFP for auditors. I received two. One is from our current auditors, and I'm just making sure everyone understands. Will we do this at the July 20th, 2010 meeting, since it is a full board and it would be public.
All right. And what's the Schools for Energy Efficiency?
Schools for Energy Efficiency is a program that the administrative team has seen, and what it does is that it's a program that promotes energy efficiency district-wide. There is a fee for it, roughly $4,600 after a grant offset. And what it is, it outlines and works with your current staff to help you implement energy efficiencies throughout the district, shutting lights, air conditioning, and things of that nature. And in addition to it, they recommend that you hire a coordinator to oversee the program. And what that coordinator does is work with the individual principals and the kids who are willing to participate in this, to work to help you save energy. And they were mainly based out in the Midwest. I believe it was Minnesota, Frank? Minnesota. And they currently have 3 districts in New Jersey: Bridgewater, Somerset Hills, and most recently Middlesex Regional Lead Services Commission. It's an overall program. It's looking for direction from the board as to, do you wish to have just a recommendation made, a presentation made by the individual so you see what the program is, or you're not interested at all and we just leave it alone?
Discussion?
My preference is I'd like the Buildings and Grounds Committee to take a look at it a little bit deeper. I like what I see in the program. I'm a little concerned about the $40,000 cost for the program, plus the cost of whoever's going to administer it. At the same time, if they're talking an 8% decrease in utilities, we spend about $2 million a year in utilities. That's $160,000 in the first year. It may pay for itself. I'd just like to get a little bit more of a better understanding of it before we go ahead. And I think that Mr. Machada's committee is probably the committee to do that.
Okay. Make it so.
We'll make it a different night than the other 2 things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last thing I have a discussion.
Mike, I apologize. I did have one other thing that I put in my notes.
Okay.
I also have a firm that I believe we met down at the conference in October. We've been back and forth. What they do is telephone audits, similar to the individuals we have that do energy audits, where they look at your telephone bills. And I'm just, again, checking with the board, is it something you would be interested in? If you're interested, he or the company gets 45% of whatever refunds or the credits that the district receives by them auditing your telephone bills and moving forward. And if it's something the board would be interested in, I would be required to seek and see if there are other individuals that do this, and it would fall under the extraordinary unspecifiable service.
No other cost to the board?
No, what they generate, whatever credits or refunds they generate, they get 45% of it based over a period of time.
No lose situation?
I'll look into it further then.
Excuse me, was that 45 or 25?
45%.
I thought originally you said 25.
If I did, it was 45.
Now, we would need to put this out for competitive quote, correct? So if
Well, I
somebody
would
were to
have
come
to
in
seek,
at 40.
I would have to seek other individuals that do telephone audits.
Okay.
Last thing I have in the discussion was a request from the borough to utilize our upper fields of the high school for cricket. You play cricket, Mr. Limbaugh?
Is that with the bocce ball?
No.
No?
Sorry, what are they requesting? Somebody know exactly what they're requesting?
March, they're requesting from March to next July to use the upper soccer field / practice football field every Sunday, pretty much most of the day. They did say, Jerry did say to us, that they will not cut up, there's like a, 8 by 20 path that they cut into the field, but they're not going to do that. They're rolling something out and they're going to roll it back. So basically all they're going to do is use the field.
So the question for you says there's no cost.
Correct.
Discussion, anybody have issue with that? And this is for the
I have.
Borough Recreation Department.
I have a question about all of this, is the simple fact that that's our practice football field, number one.
Right.
Number two, what happens as far as maintenance to this facility, meaning, say the grass gets torn up or it's just turns to dirt, who's going to be responsible for the replanting and maintenance of the field
So I
itself?
think this would be similar to when they use the field as slope, right? When they use the baseball field as slope, the agreement that we have, that they're responsible for any damage, any trash.
They'll have to have a bond.
I did, Mr. Bishara, ask Mr. Catano whether or not, this is something that we can't do, and he said they could do it, that it's okay, and that as long as they weren't taking chunks out of the field to build that path, it seems like it would be okay. And they said they wouldn't do that. They're going to roll out some sort of a mat. I don't know exactly how cricket's played, but I know there's a lot of people that go there on a Sunday. This is a big community activity that I think would benefit, obviously, if we would allow them to use it. It's just my opinion.
I didn't know they play cricket.
Mr. McEnroe, again, also, is the entrance to this field, Dr. Alfano, which part of are they going to come down that
I
path?
have no idea.
You got something to
I mean, we could always limit where they come and how they
Yeah,
go.
because, as Mr. Kubik, if she's still here, she's well aware of that path that leads down there. We've been trying to get some type of pavement done on it. Maybe we can get the borough to do it, if that could be an entrance to it. That would save the district a couple dollars. Am I correct?
If they're going to enter from that route, that is relatively dangerous. I would have concerns about that. If they're going to enter from the other side, then it's less of an issue. But you're right, it's horrible.
That's something that we could look into as far as, if the borough wants to use that particular entrance from the middle school, maybe we can get paid.
I think we can control the access. The question is everybody okay with no charge for the Recreation Department to use that field?
Yes.
Yes.
Is JK okay with the schedule for Sunday?
Yes. I spoke to Mr. Katanovich and Mr. Brown, and it seems like it's okay.
Anybody else have any issue with it? If not, let's inform them that.
I will. I'll let Mr. Austin know.
we're approved. I have nothing else to discuss except to open up for the public. At this time, I'd like to open up for the public for any business that have come before the board. Like earlier, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Audrey Tisney. My address is 434 South Pine Avenue in Oregon.
The microphone is working. There's a
Oh, it is.
cordless mic.
Oh, okay, better?
Just turn it on.
Better? No. I can talk louder. Sorry. My name is Audrey Tisney. My address is 434 South Pine Avenue in Morgan. I am a lifelong Saraville resident, and within the next 2 years, all 4 of my kids will be at Eisenhower Elementary School. Although I've been extremely happy this year, as has my husband, with Mr. O'Kelly, I am becoming extremely concerned at the education that my kids will receive in the Saraville Public School system due to the constant growth in our town. We're constantly building new developments of single-family and townhomes. There's a large influx of kids coming to this town, and there's nothing being done to accommodate that. I obviously realize that an easy solution would be for the budget to pass, and there would be money to build onto the schools or to hire additional staff. Since that's not happening, I was wondering what the board is looking into to do in regards to that. When was the last time the zones for each elementary school were evaluated? I know, for example, directly across the street from Eisenhower School, Lemure is continuing to build. So maybe we need to shift the zones around a little bit. The UES was built to accommodate grades 4 and 5 to alleviate the elementary school. Maybe it could be made to 3, 4, and 5. Now you're not hiring additional staff, you're just moving them to a different school. I live in Morgan. Slover School is up the street from my house. I don't know if there's money to be found somewhere from the town council or wherever to perhaps have a 5th elementary school. But you're looking at, by the time my 3rd child is in Eisenhower, classes of 35 kids, because there's just so many children coming to our town. And
I'm sure that these are things that have been discussed before, but this is my first Board of Ed meeting, so I appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing things in the upcoming school years as far as what we're going to do to make my children and all of our children's education better. Not that it's not good now, but the more kids in a classroom and the more things that are going to get taken away from them, they are going to start to suffer.
We've been discussing Eisenhower. Can you just shut that off?
Yeah.
Our ideal class size, we love to have 26 kids, students in the classroom. There's several things you can do to decrease the number of students in the classroom. Obviously, it's higher due to teachers if you have the classroom space for that. In the last couple of budgets, we weren't able to do that, hire additional staff. I know there was a class of 2 in Eisenhower that's approaching 30.
Well, we did, Mr. McEnon, I don't know.
We hired one.
Is it Audrey?
Audrey.
And I don't know if she knows that Mr. Skoronsky came to us and we added another teacher. So, so that they would not go over 30. Our goal, no matter what, is never to go, obviously, over 30 in elementary. I don't like to say where I came from in Hudson County. We had 37 to 40 kids in the classroom. And unfortunately, Audrey, what's happening right now is even if we had the room, we don't have the money. And we are thinking about looking at Slover as being possibly an early childhood center, where we might pull a grade or whatever. We're looking at that. We're looking at a number of things. Mr. DeAndrea and I were talking the other day before we had your letter about Eisenhower being the school that has the most property, that if anything, we could, for lack of a better word, portables or trailers or permanent ones that you put back there, but that costs money. This year alone cost $5.5 million. Our budget went down approximately 3% of the appropriation that we spent last year. This governor is not going to stop. I don't see this getting any better. The carnage in Middlesex County is unbelievable. We've kept our head above water. How? I'm not really sure, but thank God we did. We didn't lose really any staff at all. Woodbridge lost 220 staff members. They've lost every librarian, all support staff, and in all due respect, I don't know what's in the future for education. I don't know as far as what kind of money we're going to get. We have to generate next year $2.7 million just to balance our budget from this year's budget. We will do everything we can. One thing good about Saraville, we're used to this. We've practiced it probably over the last 10 years, and our teachers are excellent, and they work, and our support staff and everybody, our certificated staff, year in and year out, do a wonderful job, even though the class sizes are creeping up. I don't want to turn this into an urban environment. I know Mr. McEnon and the rest of the board members are 100% behind you. We have been talking about this ever since we've seen the numbers creeping up. You need to know that Mr. Skoronsky is your biggest supporter in the sense that he really advocates for his building and pushes very hard because his building is probably one of the highest as far as enrollment is concerned. And I don't have to tell you where the kids are coming from. I just look across the street, and they keep building and building and building.
Yeah, well,
what are we going to do? I know Ms. Sutherland is really, her and I do a lot of the demographics, so I'll let her say just a little bit about this.
Yeah, we do that annual evaluation of what areas or what locations attend which schools. And one of the reasons why Mr. Skoronsky got an extra teacher is because enrollment there was up and enrollment in Wilson was down. So the teacher that got two.
He actually got two.
Two.
He got one from Ms. Baum in Wilson School, and he got another one. So he actually got 2 more people.
Yeah, but we do that balancing effect, every single year. We also have to watch the developments to make sure that we don't have all of one development going to one school. Right now, Eisenhower can accommodate Lemare, but when you talk about Winding Wood, you can't send all of the Winding Wood children to one school. It's just too huge. So Winding Wood is kind of carved up so that it sends to all of the elementary schools. But we have meetings, administrative team meetings that Dr. O'Fennell holds, and everyone has to give us their numbers. What are your enrollments per class each year? And once again in September, we check those numbers to make sure that there is a balance.
The Lemire that you mentioned, that's right across the street from Eisenhower, still has 2 sections to complete. We're looking at another 200-plus units back in Lemire. The other developments in town that were designed to be age-restricted, and I mentioned this at the last board meeting, the prior governor has allowed developers now to change that from age-restricted to open market, which means Town Lake West. It means the development on Ernstman Road between Harbor Club and Lemire, there's another one down there, and then one in Morgan where Club Benet used to, the one with the five houses. That's all being rezoned for anybody. And with this national lead development, they're talking about 2,000 homes. So, I don't know where these kids are going to be going to school. We talked about this. We talked about possible redistricting to take a look at that. But as long as the homes keep coming, those kids are going to go to school somewhere.
And somebody's paying taxes for that though, right? So the town council should be giving you guys some of that money towards our children?
Well, it doesn't exactly work that way.
more than they get.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you. And we're on it, and we're trying to do our best we can. Right now, I just talked about this earlier, we're having graduations, promotion ceremonies. We have 406 kids in the 12th grade, but we have 472 in the 8th grade. So we're going to get a gain of 66 students in the high school. Okay, so that's going to keep going. If you follow the numbers for the elementary school into the UAS to the middle school, then you're going to keep getting that increase. So until Sayreville's built out, I have no idea when that's going to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. Just one thing as a parent, and I'm a parent also, and as a taxpayer. One of the things that happened in this state is that the New Jersey Builders Association got together and they took away builders' fees that were allowed many years ago. This is something as a parent, as a taxpayer, what I would do is contact our legislators or write to the newspapers and ask them to implement, I forgot the name of the impact fees. That would be the thing. That's what we need to get the dollars, because the builders, what they're doing is they're coming in, building their homes, taking the profit and leaving us with the headaches of education, providing services to the community, such as police, fire, etc. And they're just out as a profit organization. After they're gone, it's our responsibility.
Anyone else in the public? Thank you. Mrs. Kilcummings.
I don't want to be video, thank you. Does this work?
Yeah, turn it on.
Well, I don't know. I can speak loud enough. I attended the awards ceremony, and I thought it was absolutely great. And I tip my hat to Mr. Brown and his staff. And I thought it was a great idea to have it separate than graduation. And many have attended their children's graduations, and a lot of it, there's so many children, and it does become boring after a while. So I really thought that was a great idea. But one thing that really got me was I haven't been in that auditorium since we had, I think, a mayoral debate. And since the community does use that auditorium because it's the largest seating area in our town, I was absolutely appalled at the condition and in fact embarrassed. Broken seats, filthy, dirty carpets. I can't imagine how this board or the administration has let this on so long for the condition that that's in. It was actually an embarrassment. I attended my granddaughter's dance recital in a middle school. They have performing arts there. It's gorgeous. And my taxes are close to my son's for his community. And I could not believe that. And I don't know where your priorities are, but it is a focal point for the community. It's the largest seating for the community if they have to use it. And it's long overdue. And I don't know if you have money. You mentioned that it was probably on the list, but coming to all these board meetings, I see a lot of things on the list. Doors, roofs, everything else, and then all of a sudden it gets cut.
Ms. Kilcummings, we are in the summer. As soon as the kids leave the school, we're replacing all the seats, we're pulling up all the carpet, The floor's going to be refinished. Carpet will only be on the aisles, and the new seats will be put in. That was initially planned in renovations with the referendum, if I'm not mistaken. Then we pulled those out to save money when we had that issue. And now at the last meeting, we talked about with the leftover fund, which was about, what, 500,000?
Correct.
That we were going to put it into the auditorium. So we're replacing all those seats and the carpet. And that's always been, since I've been on the board, an issue for us. It is air conditioned now.
Yes.
We did air condition as part of the
I could
referendum.
not believe how many broken seats there were. And it was just it was a shock to me, not being there for quite a long time.
We like the cafeteria, though.
Yeah, Barbara, you have to remember that during construction, the auditorium served as the cafeteria for over a year. Kids would have to get their lunches and then go into an area, have lunch, or bring bag lunches and spend their time in the cafeteria. So a lot of what you see in that cafeteria is the wear and tear of a year and a half.
The auditorium.
I mean, the auditorium. It was used as a cafeteria for over a year and a half, and that's where it got beat up. Before that, you don't recall the wear and tear on that. It was during, we had to put kids somewhere.
Well, what's the status also of any retribution from the architect and from, $50 million for an addition. Many communities build a whole school, and this is just an addition. And I still have to repeat, I think it's absolutely ugly, the front of the building. It looks like a first aid building with the white and the blue and the tiles. And it's not only my feelings, it's a lot of the community does feel the same way. They all comment of their tax dollars and how much we spent, and it is an eyesore. The white and the blue tile. And whoever was allowed to pick that up or on the committee, I would get them off the committee if there's any other renovations to be done.
I just want to make a comment about the auditorium before you move on to RSC. When I chaired the budget committee, we did put the renovations of the auditorium in the budget. When the budget was defeated, the town council cut it out of the budget. So we did always plan to try to fix that, and then we just waited to use the
Well, glad
referendum
you told me
money.
that. I'll bring that up at the next council
So
meeting. I
we
attended,
were aware that it's.
of how they cut.
Okay, good.
I think the only way to answer the RSC situation is it is currently being worked with with our attorneys. I don't think we can really comment other than that at this point.
So it's still pending.
It's with the attorneys.
Well, I hope so. And anyway, to recoup some of our misspent dollars.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak?
I should write the phone down first, so. Is it not turning?
It takes a couple seconds to warm up once you turn the switch.
And they were my emails that were floating around today, so I'll try to scream very loudly. If we can't.
It's on.
It's on.
All right. Hello. They were my emails that were floating around today. Let me start.
Ma'am, can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes. Good evening, board members, Dr. Alfano, and other concerned parents. My name is Allison Hornbeck. I live at 7 Driftwood Drive. Pretty much a lifelong resident of Sayreville and a proud graduate of Sayreville High School, class of 1983. Go Bombers. I have 2 children in Eisenhower Elementary School, the same school that I went to. I am also PTO executive board member, and I am very proud to say that I am a graduate of Sayreville High School when it really meant something to say that. As some of you, I'm like speaking, I'm better at email. As some of you may already surmise from my emails today, I am here to discuss the capacity of the elementary schools and what the board plans on doing about the ever-expanding class size. We were told at our last PTO meeting that we had an additional 32 students coming into Eisenhower on top of the 520 already there, for a total of about 555, and we know that's only going to increase as more people move in. Where will we fit all of these students? if it's a major concern of all the parents at Eisenhower, not just the ones that you see here before you tonight, and before we start throwing our hands up and stating the obvious, there are no monies in the budget and nowhere to build, I would like to bring you back 20 years ago when all of this building began. Where was the school board back then planning for this eventual circumstance? Closing schools and turning them into senior centers and or tearing them down and building housing? The school infrastructure of this town cannot support all of the children coming in. Please do not start pointing fingers at the town council, and believe me, I will tell them the same thing about pointing fingers at the school board because I've already heard it from them. It's not just a school board concern or a town council concern, it's all of our concern. And I am here to ask, what has been the talk for the past 20 years planning for this day that has come to us now? Did you cross your fingers and hope it wouldn't happen? I know you will not have the answers for me this evening, but I think we really need to bring this issue to the forefront of the next school board meeting and for the next school year. What I would like to do is refer to your mission statement, which is on your website, and it says, the Sayreville School District will strive to meet challenges of developing each child's mind, body, and character by working closely with parents and community members to help support the whole school effort. And I believe that there is really right now no greater school effort that we can be making than addressing the class size and what's going on. So I really hope that I have your attention. You know, we've already gone through this. If you don't want to reiterate, that's fine with me. What I would like to do is invite each and every one of you to come to our PTO meetings. Not sure why you already haven't shown an interest. We meet the first Wednesday of each month. I think it would be a great thing for you guys to come and hear what our concerns are, and just, you know, as we come to your meetings, you come in and hear what we have to say. You know, we don't just want to see you guys in April and, you know, pass the budget, which is very important and that's very understandable, but, you know, I really think that we all need to work together, and that means showing up to our meetings and coming and hearing what's important to us. You know, this is very important. And then on another statement, when you guys were going through your agenda for the evening, Mr. Lembo, I believe you read off accomplishments at Truman High School, and how great was that? How do we get Eisenhower recognized? I need to know.
They're all submitted to the superintendent's office.
Great, because our students do good works all year long, and I would love to have them recognized the same way. That's really just, you know, a couple of things jump rope for heart. We do walk-a-thon for St. Jude, the Middlesex County Food Pantry, Shoes for Haiti. We recycle 25,000 plastic bags for Earth Week. We do Valentine's for our senior citizens next door to us. We collect packages for the soldiers. So we would love to see that recognized as part of Eisenhower. So if it's emailing Dr. Alfano, that's what I will do. Okay.
That doesn't come, that comes through the building principal. He will send me a report or she, depending on.
And then you
and
pass
I
them
just,
to the
yeah,
board?
and I go through them and I put them into the board report. Because you're right, like there's a lot of things going on that sometimes we're not privy to.
Right.
And we go through all the accomplishments and that's what we do every month.
And that's
so
why.
Mr. Skoronsky, I will let Mr. Skoronsky know your concern that, and again, he may have been, I don't remember, it's been a while, it's been 5 weeks, so I don't know if there were any accomplishments that were brought forth from Eisenhower at the last meeting, I can't remember.
But maybe too, he can elect somebody on the PTO to give him that agenda each month or so.
He gets a notice, every principal gets a notice every month that basically says, your deadline to submit whatever needs to be submitted is usually a week before the board meeting. I usually go right to the end, and sometimes we have so much stuff that we have to cut.
Right. Is that something that you would consider opening up to the PTO? Because maybe, you know, PTOs, maybe we would have more time to help.
That usually what some of the principals do is everything funnels through the principal. So if he feels that that's an easier way, or the principal feels that, you know, that through the PTO, that would funnel through the principal, and the principal then would obviously determine what he wants. Obviously, there's so much going on. Sometimes we'd be here for about 2 hours going through it, which is great.
Right.
And we do as much as we can. But that is something that I'll speak to Mr. Skoronsky tomorrow about, that you have a concern about. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to look through my highlights and see, how much stuff
And
has
we
come.
meet head of the class, I think, once this year, so.
Well, then if you read the head of the class and Eisenhower's not being mentioned, then subsequently.
Right, but what I'm saying is if he's a principal, he has a lot to do. If he could defer to the PTO, and if that's something that you would accept.
Like I said, it funnels through him. It funnels through him. You'd be better off just shutting it off. It's late, and I'm, yes, I'll talk to Mr. Skolonsky about it, and how he sets it up and how it comes through is fine.
Okay.
And if it comes through a PTO, it's fine too.
So, this whole thing with class sizes and, I know that Mr. DeAndrea said he's going to try to get back to me. What I was trying to do today through my email is to try to find out the class capacity for each individual classroom and for the building as a whole, because, that's a New Jersey law. You can't exceed maximum occupancy in any building. We can't exceed in any classroom. And we as parents, we feel like we're getting there. We're starting to get to that maximum capacity. I believe this should be public information, and I really am looking forward to getting this information per classroom. And if that means for me to go walk through the school and take notice in each classroom, then maybe that's what I'll have to do. But, I was hoping that it would be something that would be readily available for the public.
And as I explained to you, it is not something that I have in mind at all.
Well, it has to be either the borough construction office or the fire department has to have that.
Well, so, I didn't get an answer as to where it would be coming
The
from.
fire department does their annual inspections. And when we learned we were over capacity at the middle school before we built the Blue Room, that was 2 years of warning that we were getting close to capacity. And the fire department made us aware of that. And when we got to capacity, we had to come up with an alternative setting.
Right.
And that's basically similar to what happened with the cafeteria, as we spoke about earlier.
Correct.
It was one of the first things that happened at this school.
Right.
Well, the Blue Ribbon Committee, we spent $90 million, $80 million, pulling the 5th grade out of the middle school and pulling the 4th grade out of the elementaries. Unfortunately, we just keep growing, especially in the elementaries, and we just spent a ton of money on this building. So I think this board has been very aggressive demographically, and we received probably about $21 million to $25 million in state aid based on that amount of construction. So I don't know the exact figure, don't hold me to it, but that's about, 25–30% of the project that we received. As far as building in the town, we talk to the town people all the time. Like I said to the young lady that's just up here before, we're very conscious of that. And
So we've been knowing it's been coming for 20 years now when all of these townhomes first started going in. And I just feel like Sayreville hasn't prepared for it, be it the school board and the town.
man, we spent $80 million in the last 5 years, 6 years, creating the SUES and doubling, almost not doubling, 1/3 of the size of this building. I don't think that's a fair statement. I don't mean to be nasty about it, but in all due respect, we spent $80 million. And if, God forbid, think about it, if we had 4th grade still in the elementaries, and we had the 5th grade in the middle school, oh my God, Mr. Kubik would be, hanging on the chandeliers because we have 2,000 kids.
Be allowed to.
When I was there, we had 1,850 kids in that middle school. Now, I believe it's about 450 less. Maybe there's about 1,350. Don't quote me on that.
1379.
1379. So we pulled 400 and something kids out of that building. I realize that Eisenhower, for whatever reason, is the lightning rod because of the building next to that school.
Absolutely.
And as Mr. McEnroe said, I can't, I have no control over how much building is going to be done in this town, and I agree with Mr. Bashada says, the impact fees and things of this nature. But
Which
we
is
were,
how Eisenhower was built originally. My parents got to have a say in how Eisenhower was built when they first purchased the home back in.
the simple solution, to be honest with you, even if we do this impact study, they do the demographic study that you want, it's not going to change anything. The bottom line is we're going to go to the county, we have to educate kids, and this is the classroom environment that we have. Like I said, In Hudson County, we had 40 kids, kindergarten kids, and I'm not saying that that's right. I understand that. But this town is starting to get more and more densely populated. And
So what can the school boards, what is the school board doing?
we spent $80 million to try to eliminate this, and we will continue to spend more.
You need to. But are you having conversation with the town council?
Absolutely. We constantly are speaking with the town. And
Listen, let me interject
and
here.
first of all,
I'm on the planning board in town, and I've been there longer than I've been on the Board of Ed. And
Is that, do you feel that that's a contradictory in your roles?
no, I think it's very beneficial to be there.
he fights for
And
us.
that's why every board member gets this now. This is a running tally every month of our enrollment in all the schools. I sit there and have to vote on things that New Jersey law on land usage has to be applied to. The town years ago sold off this land to developers, and it's in a residential zoned area. Therefore, you cannot stop a developer from building on property he owns, and that's what happened with Lemire. We went into litigation in town with Lemire, and we lost, and we got what we got. Now, it's going to be like 1,357 units. I voted no with the things, with the converting of the seniors' houses, age restricted to students. It's very frustrating being on that board because your hands are basically tied because everything's based on New Jersey land use law. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest lobbying group in this town are the developers. And they lobbied the prior governor to change that. And we had one application come in, we denied it, and now we're in litigation on that in the town. And I've always said, I had a guy stand in front of me, they briefed us last planning board meeting on National Lake, and what the output is going to bring. And I spoke to the main developer, the gentleman that bought the property, this development, and he looked me right in the eye, and I said to him, with 2,000 units, how many children is that going to generate? You know what he told me? He told me 8. I said 8, and he's referencing other developments of that magnitude that he has done in other towns. They made up this new term called age targeting, where you build these things where you wouldn't attract somebody perhaps like you that have elementary age school children, but there's no place to play, there's no entertainment for them. And they try to gear it towards, upper level, upper income, perhaps empty nesters or couples that haven't had children yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, exactly. But you cannot control who they resell the units to, and that's always been my big concern. So we're pulling our hair out. The only thing we can do, several things we can do, like I said, we can build another school, that's not going to happen. Redistricting is probably the cheapest thing you can do, but you're going to raise a lot of concern from parents that come up here that may live close to one school but don't want their kid to go to the other school. We'll have to deal with that. But that seems to me to be the quickest, lowest cost solution that we can do. I can't stop the development, and the town isn't interested in stopping. They can't either because of the law.
But then what are they doing to plan for it?
The only thing we can do is again, not much you can do, build a school.
Put budgets up.
Now, the one thing we are working out with National Lead is that if this is passed, they were interested in building the school down there, an elementary school, or providing some in the area of 20
I don't
million.
think I'd ever want to send my child to a Superfund site, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you. But that's the issues that, and we're aware of it, we're cognizant about it, but again, with the budgets, and it just reminded me something that somebody else said, that every year that I've been here, the borough made cuts. Every time I look at the budget, the first thing that goes is the capital improvement monies. That's why the auditorium never got done, as Mr. Cummins was talking about. That always gets pulled out. So now we have to decide, do we want to fix our buildings, or do we want to provide other things that we need for education? And that's always like this all the time. This board, under Mr. Bashada heading the buildings to ground, we've been very aggressive of putting money into improving our buildings with the doors and the floors and all these types of things. But I have no answer to give you on how we're going to stop the overcapacity of Eisenhower School, because there's going to be a point where the other schools are going to be in the same situation. When I'm looking at the list right here, we have Arlett with 512 students, Eisenhower 518, Truman 488, and Wilson 375. I don't know what the maximum, Wilson's a small school.
I don't have any more rooms.
Yeah, you don't have any more.
So I think Eisenhower is now up to about 555.
Okay. And then you have Slover Building, which has classrooms in it. It might be an alternative as well.
Right. So I really think it's something that needs to be discussed at every board meeting. It can't just be this one time.
Right.
Because it's not going.
The last thing, you mentioned something which I very agree with you, and I did this about a year and a half ago with the board of members. Now we have a new board. I assigned a board member to every school to reach out to the presidents of PTOs. And I know I was with Mr. Pinto, she's not head back there at UES, and she would invite me, and my direction to the board was don't show up unless you're invited, because I know there's a lot of business you have to do and that type of thing. But I'd like to reinstate that to make sure everybody's proactive. Mr. Lembo just volunteered that he would like to go to the next Eisenhower PTO.
Great.
He just-
September, Melena Kelly is our PTO president, she's here, and.
I think that if we, did the PTO presidents ever meet together as a group of just?
You know what, they should, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna speak for the PTO president. When is our September meeting?
The PIC meetings, yeah. And I will reach each board member to assign the school, let the PTOs know that, and then you can send them an email, invite them to a meeting. Maybe there's a topic you want them to discuss that they can research on. I think that's excellent. Excellent.
But our next, Melena, do you know when our meeting is, September? Not yet, okay, but we'll send you.
Send me an email. Mr. McEnroe, PIC, the Parent Involvement Council, would be a good avenue
Yes.
to get all the PTO presidents together to have a discussion.
Definitely make that happen.
All the PTO presidents are invited, and not all of them show up. Well, any officer, elected officer, PTO officer, as well as parents, can come.
Spread the word.
Right, so let's have a two-way avenue. You come to our meetings, we'll come to yours, and then we can all work together, because in the end, it's all, it's for our children. I've already had my education. I need my children to get theirs. So, and we all feel.
I agree with you, on the same team, and we'll get you the information that you requested of us.
Okay, great.
Just something that I wanted to say is, before I was on this board many years ago, I used to go to the SARA meetings and I'd go to the council meeting. Two things, I followed the SARA very closely. I was all in favor of seeing warehouses built in there instead of having, townhouses or condos, whatever they're going to put in. That's going to be a fiasco, believe me. And the other thing is that the way that things are situated in this town right now, they have a term called rateables. That's a house. That's what they're building. They want rateables. And a rateable is a house. By the time you're done paying taxes, you're in a negative group because of the services that you have to derive out of the tax structure, the way it's set up in this town. In other words, if you're paying $10,000 in property taxes and you have 3 children in the school system at $9,700 or $10,400, okay, you're negative. Then you've got to pay for your sanitation, your road department, your police, fire equipment, all that. That's all negative.
Right.
One other item that I wanted to bring up is that going to these meetings, I brought up the impact fees. And a member of the council, I won't mention any names, told me if I didn't like it, to take my equity and move. And I'm a lifelong resident, 4th generation in this town. And it kind of annoyed me for that person
Take
to
umbrage
say
to
that.
that fact. This is
And I
your
suggested
home.
that person to take their equity and move back to where they came from.
Right.
But as a concerned citizen, which all of us should do, is go to these council meetings or go to these planning board meetings or SARA meetings and let the people know how we feel and how it's going to impact our lives 10, 15, 20 years down the road,
Right.
and our children also.
Especially if you're building on National Lead, no offense, but shame on them.
Believe me, there's uranium in there.
Just don't drink the water.
There's so much toxin in there. And if you follow the news clippings, they really don't want to clean that up right now. They really don't want to clean it up. They want to get away with putting warehouses over the contaminated site, and where they want to put the housing units is close to the sewage authority facility. So that's going to be a fiasco. I just...
All right, we'll see you in September.
Anyone else from the public? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm not turning
Yes,
this
yeah.
off. My name's Lisa Reback on 7 Charles Street, and I just wanted to verify what we had just heard, that there are 2 teachers being added to the staff at Eisenhower.
One is going from Wilson School to Mr. Skoronsky.
Okay.
I had a smaller, one of my classes is smaller, and I could not keep that teacher when he needed something.
Right. And then I think Dr. Alfano had also mentioned that there's an additional hire being.
Yes, I said to him the other day that I think his 3rd grade was very large.
Okay. And then do we know where the teacher that's being transferred from Wilson is going?
No.
That's up to him.
Okay,
Where
thank
he
you.
needs it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the public?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Carmen Melendez from 18 Driftwood Drive. My husband told me, I don't know how true it is, I was trying to find it on my phone and get more information before I came up here, but just to throw it out there, we're talking about redistricting in these 4 schools that we mentioned.
It says a possibility. Yeah.
Right. But I'm wondering, is it a possibility to also redistrict with other towns? Like, I don't know how true it is, but like Winding Woods, I think used to be part of East Brunswick. Is it sent to East Brunswick
No.
too? Is that a possibility
Not
at
as
all?
close. No.
But that's not
No.
either?
Redistrict to another district? No. If you send other districts, they'll charge us tuition.
We give them over.
No. That was the question. All right.
So, thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Angelica Ortiz, and I'm on 14 Felix Terrace. And this is the first time I come to a meeting. My daughter comes to this high school, and, you know, everything's been great. You know, I haven't seen much. You know, she complains about how it's hard to get from one side of the building to the next side of the building. So, you know, I guess that's a good thing because that means we have a lot of space. Now, my big concern is, my daughter's in kindergarten, that's Juliet, and she's in Mr. Kelly's class. He's a great teacher, she loves him. My biggest concern is, like the other parents, you know, where I grew up, it was 35 kids to a teacher. Here, we are trying to, I guess, have a better environment, have a better upbringing for our children, and education is the most important thing that we hold. So I would just, you know, like to continue this meeting and, you know, get more involved and just know, besides the budget, know that we are all here, we all have a purpose, and that our purpose is for our kids to be educated and get a good education. And that is the most important thing. So if anything comes of this, it is that we all get together and try to do the best that we can with what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you for coming, ladies.